evening, Metal Faithful. It is I, your mandated reporter, and frankly, I'm mortified, Mr. Mark Radulich. And this is the Metal Hammer of Doom coming back at you live and on the air. Tonight, Jesse Starcher. Say hello, Jesse Starcher.
Hello, Jesse Starcher.
Yes, indeedy. Tall, dark, and greedy. Jesse Starcher is pushing me in the pool like the NWO. He is lawn darting me into a trailer, and he is taking over the show because tonight, my friends, we are reviewing Allegaeon, Damnum. We used to get 'em, now we damn them after the apoptosis. This is their 6th studio album. It came out just a couple of weeks ago, and Jesse's like, we got to get this on the schedule. We got to talk about it. It's like my favorite band ever besides Clutch. And I said, okay, Jesse, you're on. So yes, October 27th, 2021, they announced their new album, Damnum, with the release of its first single, Into Embers, and it was released February 25th of 2022. But we're not alone, Jesse.
That's right.
We are joined by the infamous Metal Coop, Robert Cooper. How do you do, sir?
I'm infamous?
You are to me.
Oh, well, that's good. At least I'm that way in someone's heart. I was going to be like, Jesus, what did I say this time?
What the fuck did I do? All right, Jesse, it's your show. You're fucking this dog. I'm just holding its head.
Hey, let me just tell you something.
Which one?
Jesus.
Right quick. Let me ask a question, Mark Radulich.
Yes, sir.
Is everything set up correctly? So that we don't have to stop midway through the show and be like, oh, shit, we didn't get this. It's just me listening to you talk, Jesse.
I mean, good point, but also fuck you.
All right.
Yes, I have my speakers set to Black Hole 16 channel. I have my microphone set to C Media audio device, which I will then convert to Black Hole 16 channel when we start to play music. So we should be...
It's whole of color, sir.
we should be okay.
All right.
I'm looking at the studio. When you talk, I hear sound. We should be fine.
I like it.
Which means when we're done, we will have no show, I promise you.
Oh, wonderful. I don't know what happened, Jesse. I know you really, really were excited about talking to this album, but I didn't record anything.
It would be great. We could talk about it twice.
It's going to be an ongoing thing here.
At that point.
This is the end. Metal Hammer of Doom. Why'd you guys quit doing the show? We couldn't fucking record a single show. Everything was a problem.
It was just problems.
Everything's a nightmare.
I am absolutely 100% excited to talk about this album. This is a band that, I'm trying to think of when I first heard about these guys. I'm certain that it was shortly after I started to learn about Scar Symmetry, plugged them into my Pandora, and then next thing you know, Allegiant starts showing up on my feed. And
as you're talking, I keep wanting to make sure that I look okay on camera. This is audio. What has StreamYard done to me? I keep moving I want to make sure my chair is set that I'm straight on camera. I'm like, we're doing the audio show. Just punch me in the fucking face.
Chill out, dude.
I mean, on the bright side, you're not wearing pants and nobody knows.
That's right.
You're also not wearing a shirt and nobody knows.
No, that's my wife. Wait 5 minutes. She'll send you a picture. So listen, go ahead, Jesse.
I say this in the most respectful manner. I'm good.
Well, you're one of the few. Go on, Jesse.
All right, then. So Allegiant pops up in, my audio feed, and what is this song about? A Dyson sphere.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, what in the world is going on here? Why are these guys talking about stuff that is so science-oriented? A lot of their catalog took me by surprise. The one song that I think one of the most popular videos is 1.618, which happens to be the golden ratio. So these guys immediately pop on my radar like, okay, they got some neat stuff to say. And then, of course, when you listen to their sound, they're very heavy. They are, they do check some boxes when it comes to clean versus harsh for me. I like a good mix of that in my metal. We have a lot of that on this album that we're getting ready to get into. But yeah, I've been steadily going back and listening to some of their previous stuff all the way back to their 2008 album, which was, oh my goodness, I had it here in front of me. I will just tell you that it is right here in front of me. I'm going to scroll down and tell you what it's called. No, I'm not. No, I'm not, because it is. My gosh, where in the world did it go? Let me just put it this way: find Preach. I think it's Preach the Machine, and listen to that. It is probably one of the most outstanding songs off of a 2008 album. I mean, that thing is 14 years old, and it really it still holds up to this day. After that, Proponent for Sentience is probably my favorite album that these guys have put out. And it is, again, another science-oriented album. It's basically about the machines taking over. We love that in our metal. But there's a great appearance by Speed Strid showing up on there, which is great, to hear him sing along with these guys and doing some clean vocals. Again, these guys are off the charts for me. So, I'll stop talking about them. We're getting ready to get into Damnum. And, I mean, Coop, did you join us for Apoptosis? I don't think you were around for that one.
No, I've never listened to them before.
Okay.
Oh, is this your first time hearing the band at all?
Yeah, no, I've never listened to a Legion.
Okay, all right.
Interesting, okay.
Proponent for Sentience actually came out in 2016, and we were going to cover it on the Metal Hammer of Doom, but something happened to where it got shuffled off of the schedule, and we couldn't cover it. And I was really upset because it was a really good album. Apoptosis coming in after that, it's okay. I think I made a joke about them singing about a forest fire, and that is one of the songs off of that album. But I will tell you, we are going to get something completely different from what came before with a Legion when we get into Damnum, and we'll talk about that as we go through the songs. But so I know, Mark, you've had a chance to listen to Apoptosis. Were you expecting anything going into this other than what
I wasn't expecting it to be as good as it was. Like, I'm actually I was talking with somebody earlier today, and we were kind of just going back and forth about music, and I was like, this is what I'm listening to now. Dude, Vermin is my shit, man.
That's the jam.
That is the jam. That's my jam.
Right. Well, Damnum is Latin for loss. So keep that in mind as we go through the album. But I'm ready to start some music, man, unless you got something else you want to cover.
No, man. Let's get on with the show here. So here we go with the first three tracks of this album. Bastards of the Earth, of Beasts and Worms, and Into Embers, their first single. So these don't have like natural breaks at about the minute mark that I need them to. They just,
Right, dude. They just start getting ramped up.
yeah, that was rough. But I'll tell you, in terms of just pure, unadulterated, straightforward metal, this is what I like, Jesse. This is, I mean, the gallop in the drums, the double bass, the harsh vocals, the breakdowns, the rhythm. This is what, like, if they were just to produce a, like, what kind of sound do you especially like in metal? It's this. Like, Amorphous may have made the best album of the year so far, but this one I have found to be, so far, the most enjoyable to me personally. This is the kind of metal, jokes aside, nonsense aside, Rumahoy aside, that I like to listen to.
I'm glad you're enjoying it, man.
Yeah.
So, real quick, the 2008 EP that I was thinking of, trying to remember what the title was, it was called 2008 EP.
Nice.
So,
Well done.
Yeah, 4 songs. That came out in 2008. So anyway, just to give you an idea of the lineup here, throw down some names. We got Greg Burgess, who's been on the lead guitar since 2008. He's kind of like the main driving force behind Allegaeon. Michael Stansel, rhythm guitar, Riley McShane vocals, Brandon Michael on bass, and Jeff Saltzman on drums. Seems like they've had quite a list of drummers, and Jeff joined them in 2020. So we got 3 songs there, and one of the things that I noticed is that the 2 singles that you said were released are like 2 of these first 3 tracks.
Yeah.
And I remember when Into Embers dropped and how excited I was to be like, oh my gosh, man, they're making a new album. If the album sounds anything like what Into Embers sounds like, I am going to be just, I mean, I'll take my pants off and jacket. I'll
Nice.
be, I'll definitely be excited. So I've already kind of got a familiarity with of Beasts and Worms and Into Embers. The first song opening us up, we get some classic guitar, which is, if you have the chance, you can go check out. I don't know if it's Greg that's playing this or if it's Michael. I can't remember. But there is some very nice classical pieces out there by this guitarist on YouTube that I've seen. One of them is called, was it Into Flanders Fields, I think is the name, where, I mean, it's just, they're very, very competent guitar players. And there is also a band called the Nuclear Power Trio. And I believe the bassist, I'd have to look this up just to make sure, but I believe the bassist is part of that, which it's just 3 guys running around. There's no lyrics to it, but one guy dresses up with a Trump mask. The other one has a Putin mask. Putin. I said Putin. And Putin. And the other one was wearing a, oh my goodness, who's the guy in China? Help me out, Mark.
Winnie the Pooh.
Yes, Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh. Well, you can't go wrong with one of their songs. It's called Grab 'em in the Poonyang. So
nice. Hi-yo!
So anyway, I'll stop talking now. Coop, what'd you think of the first 3, man?
Fucking Chairman Xi, is it?
I will send you a picture. You guys tell me who it is.
I can see him. I just can't damn remember his name. Xi Jinping. There we go.
Okay. All right. There we go.
Pretty sure it's Xi Jinping. Yeah, piece of shit. Anywho, so yeah, I fucking when I started this, I was like, whoa, this was a Jesse recommendation. Hello, darling. Like, we straight up started out with, we had what very much sounds almost like a nice soft guitar piece, and then we go straight into fucking black metal guitar work. I was like,
dude.
oh yes, moisten me please. Dude, I was in fucking love. And then the songs were like fucking 8 minutes long. Yes.
Yeah.
Like, this band reminds me of what I really wanted Opeth to turn into instead of like a 1970s tribute band.
I had a hard time getting into Opeth for that reason. Like, it was like, I don't mind some doom metal, but then some of it just feels like they're playing so slow and so gloomy that there's no rhythm to it at all, and it just sounds like it should be background music of a Tim Burton movie. And I know, like, everyone's like, hey, like, how could you not like Opeth? And I'm like, I like music, not elevator fucking background noise.
Actually, Opeth, until about 2014, were one of my favorite bands, period. But once Mike Ackerfeld really started to lean heavy into the prog rock aspects, to where now they're just a fucking prog rock band. Like, it's just not quite my thing. I think they're fine with what they do. It's just, it's not really. It doesn't suit my taste anymore.
Yeah, it's
Still
not for me.
some
That's
of
what I'm
their
saying.
older stuff.
I would never tell anyone they're a bad band. They're just not for me. All right, Jesse, you ready to hear the next 3 tracks?
Rock and roll, buddy. Let's roll.
All right, here we go. The next 3 tracks on Damnum are To Carry My Grief Through Torpor and Silence, Vermin, which is my jam, and Called Home. If I haven't said it before, let me say it again. Vermin is my shit, dude.
Right, man. Feeling it, aren't you? You're liking it.
Yeah, man. I was digging the breakdowns and everything in that. I like the deathcore sound, and while I would not call this album deathcore, there was some deathcore elements in Vermin for sure. To Carry My Grief Through Torpor and Silence. It's just, like I said, it just took a little while to get going, but it was good. And, Called Home was a nice gloomy song there to start off with. But so far so good. I'm not bored by anything. I'm enjoying the album. There's enough differentiation between one song to the next to keep me invested, but I think they're staying true to the central core aesthetic of the album. What do you think, Coop?
I mean, yeah, I felt like a lot of different influences there. I actually heard a little Tool there at the beginning. I think that second song, a little bit of Tool again. With Called Home, the clean vocals on that definitely got some Opeth vibes. Like the vocal wise, kind of was reminiscent of Mike Ackerfeld, and I really loved what they were doing. Did get a little bit of the deathcore vibes with the breakdown, but I feel like it works more as a flourish, because in terms of deathcore overall, not a big fan of that genre. So, like the fact that they can keep me interested and invested even with one of my least favorite metal subgenres kind of poking in, really speaks volumes to the craftsmanship of their music.
All right.
Jesse,
Well,
go ahead, weigh in here, Jesse.
Well, yeah. So just a couple points here of correction. Greg Burgess is part of the Nuclear Power Trio, and the guy we were trying to figure out it's Kim Jong-un or Kim Jong-un, whatever you.
Oh, Kim Jong-un. Okay.
Yeah. And he's also Greg's also the one that did the In Flanders Field. So if you guys want to check out some great classical guitar, fantastic guitars. But anyway, I want to talk about the main theme, I think, that's going through this album, and it's so different from what we've got before with these guys. I know I told you they have a real big, one of their songs is called All Hail Science, okay? Mm-hmm. So, that's one of their kind of like staples prior to going into this album. This is now a very emotionally charged album. With it being called Loss, there are a lot of songs focusing on loss. And I was watching an interview with Greg when he was talking about the development of this album, and there was clearly the world's gone through some stuff here since 2020. We're a little bit. Well, this band started experiencing a lot of personal losses. Everybody was losing something in the world. Either you were losing your job, or this is straight from him. He was saying either you were losing your job, or you were losing loved ones, or you were losing, just that personal connection with other people. There was loss being experienced throughout the whole world. So that was one of the driving forces behind this album. But then we get to Called Home, okay? Now, when he tells this story, Greg was in Canada, and the borders close. So he can't get back into the States because of what's going on in regards to the pandemic, shutting borders down and stuff. His best friend ends up committing suicide during that period of time. And I just want to go grab real quick the lyrics to this album, I should say to this song, because, and I'd like to read a little bit from it, because he actually put words from his friend's suicide note in the song. And a lot of times when you look at the lyrics, there's some quotes in that, specifically Called Home was one of the things that he said in his note. But it gets graphic. I'll read a little bit here. It says, the peace the trigger granted begat the horror of flesh and bone. I only hope you found that which was sought. By keystroke you wrote, I was called home. And then there's a part where he's talking. I swear to goodness, it's like he came upon the scene afterwards. He says, I cleaned your blood off from the screen, scraped your brain matter and let loose a scream, relegated your life to trash and unseen, shattered but grateful for all you did for me, all you did for me. So there were times when I was listening to this album, I would be working and I'd have this album playing, and I didn't pay attention to what the tracks were called. What I did was I was listening to it, and whenever something would be like, man, something is really good about this song, I would make a note to turn over, look and see what the title of the song is. And then I would go back to doing work. The album would play again, and all of a sudden I'd start to hear something new, and I'd turn over and I'd look to see what song is this. And I kept doing it on Called Home. I don't know if that's because of how powerful it was. There's a lot, when it comes to like layers of, musicianship in this song. There's a lot of it. You got your clean vocals, you got the heaviness, you got the growls, and you've got the message. And I was telling Mark before we got onto this podcast that if you really dig into the lyrics of this album, it is probably one of the most depressing albums lyrically that I've ever sat down and read. I'm sure there's probably some other ones out there, but man, you talk about these guys going through some really, really, really tough times and putting their minds together, their hearts together, because it wasn't just Greg that suffered losses. I think they said shortly after that, one of Riley's friends committed suicide. So this band was really going through. And that was the other thing he said was like, science was all over the news because science was about the COVID virus and this, that, and the other. And emotionally, these guys were getting hit. And so that's why they just kind of like, we're not going that route. We're going to put an album together to talk about how we feel. So this isn't science fact. This is definitely a very emotionally charged album, and Called Home is probably one of these more powerful songs of the year that I've ever heard. And it may be for a while. So, but yeah, Vermin, man, it's heavy. It's heavy. This album puts the pedal to the metal. Granted, we get some breaks every once in a while, and it's not that, just like you said, doesn't keep it samey, which is great. It's variant. There's a lot of variance in what we're getting here, and it rolls perfectly. So, with that being said, I'm ready for the next three, man.
Well, before we do, Jesse, I just want to remind everybody of one of our great sponsors here on the W2M network and the Metal Hammer of Doom, and that is Grammarly. Grammarly's AI-powered products help people communicate more effectively. Grammarly helps write mistake-free on Gmail, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and nearly anywhere else you write on the web. Grammarly corrects hundreds of grammar, punctuation, spelling mistakes, while also catching contextual errors, improving your vocabulary, and suggesting style improvements. So download Grammarly today. Go to getgrammarly.com/W2M network. Again, that's getgrammarly.com/W2M network to download Grammarly for free. And that brings us to our next three songs. Blight, The Dopamine Void, Part 1, and because all things must have a sequel, The Dopamine Void, Part 2.
destined to act in the place of a faceless sky, holding on, waiting for great reward at the end of an endless road.
But Jesse, what does the angry metal guy think of all this?
Well, guess what? He did review this album.
Oh, shit!
Yeah, we're going to have to talk about that here. We'll before that, though, we've got to take a look at some other websites that kind of dropped some ratings for this album. So Distorted Sound Mag gave this a 7 out of 10. Blabbermouth, I don't think, yeah, they did. They rated it 8.5, 8.5 out of 10. Then we have Metal Injection giving it an 8.5 out of 10 as well. And then let me see if New Noise said anything here. New Noise, I don't think they gave it a rating. No, they did not. But they did say, I'll just read their final paragraph. It says, Allegaeon have proven music can be healing. In Stanton Burgess's guitar, we hear emotion. In Riley's voice, we hear some moments where he sounds like he's choking back tears. Although Damnum may mean loss, this album is a certified victory. Now, oh my goodness, here's the angry metal guy. You know, we love to kind of, sum things up with him, and we'll do that. So this is actually, reviewer's name is Churd, Cherd, Churd. Churd says, Churd just gave it a 3 out of 5, and he says, I may not be a fan of the clean vocals, and there's a lot of them, but ultimately more works for me than doesn't on Damnum. It's a bit long and could lose a song at random without any change whatsoever, but the songwriting is fairly sharp and the playing is downright fantastic. Still, I wouldn't say this experience has done enough to make me an Allegiant stan. If I ever curb stomp Garden's Tale in the AMG parking garage, it will be for his taste in power metal, not for his takes on these guys. So maybe he's referring to another reviewer there. But anyway, so it sounds like... hey, they gave it a shot and they listened. That's at least enough for me. But yeah, there you go, man. There's some pretty high marks if you ask me. We're talking 8.5 out of 10 on some of these, and Blabbermouth is no slouch. They're doing a good job out there, reviewing metal, and I'm not going to disagree. It's definitely not ranking low on some reviewers' charts, which is good to hear, at least.
I would agree with you. The thing that I noticed, Robert, is in terms of like critical review for metal albums, there seems to be a preference for technical metal, and that always seems to get high marks from people, as opposed to maybe some less technical, more generic, crowd pleasing, maybe. But that's the thing, is I think a lot of the metal intelligentsia seem to like the layered stuff that doesn't always resonate with the masses. What do you think?
Well, I mean, I really kind of prefer that myself, and I really feel
you're
like
part of the intelligentsia, sir.
I am, as well as I am with films, as you know. My best friend Nick, who one day shall be on this podcast.
Yes.
Yeah, he's getting his degree in film, and by you know, just by osmosis, I seem to have got some of that rubbed off on me.
Nice.
And golly gee willikers, will I go watch, you know, I'll go watch an art house film by myself, and by myself I mean with my girlfriend, by ourselves, while I'm putting fart porn in her ears in the theater. Hi, Natalia.
Classic.
Yes, hi. We haven't had our Natalia moment of the show yet. Hi, Natalia.
Yeah.
Hi,
Yeah,
Natalia.
she is not here. She is not here on the other side of the earphones this week, fortunately.
Well, she'll hear this podcast eventually, and I want her to hear me say in my sexy voice. Hi,
Get me out of
Natalia. Will you stop talking over me? I'm trying to pick up your girlfriend. Hi, Natalia.
Yeah. Ooh, are you trying to pick her up? That's not fair. That's my job. And on the bright side,
as I understand it, there are no boundaries anymore. It's fair game, except for Jesse in his house that lives on except for Jesse in his house that lives on a castle on a hill. So, but for the rest of us, yeah.
Got like 8 churches that surround me too.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Welcome to the South, except you're not in the South.
Yeah, but for the rest of us heathens, it's Sodom and Gomorrah out there. Monogamy, what's that? All right, go ahead, Coop.
Anywho, I was going to say, yeah, we're totally going to a metal show this weekend. That's going
what
to be
show?
awesome. It's The Ocean, which is one of her favorite
really?
bands. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, she loves The Ocean, and I forget the other fucking band. I'm such a loser. But
Ocean's like super technical death metal, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, I remember hearing one of their albums.
Shit.
Yeah, I remember hearing one of their albums like a bunch of years ago. I don't at the time I don't think it jumped out at me, but I remember it being very distinctive from whatever else I was listening to at the time.
Yeah, I had never heard them before. She was like, "Hey, listen to this," and I was like, "Bruh, this is awesome."
Bruh.
Bruh.
Bruh, it's totes awesome.
Yeah, like it was. I really liked it. And then next week, I'm dragging her to go see Watain, Mayhem, and Midnight.
You know, Watain's got a new album coming out, and I thought of putting it on the schedule, but you know, I didn't know if you'd want to.
Well, yeah, I would love to do a good black metal album. You know, fortunately, it'll break up all the Lordy for us.
Yeah, boy, we got a lot of Lordy.
We really do. We only have 4 more albums.
Yeah, dude.
Well, wow.
Wow.
I mean, they released a bunch at the same time, or like within days of each other. But I didn't want to do 4 weeks worth of Lordy, so I was like, we're just gonna do these like once a month. So yeah, I booked this out to like
July.
Yeah, something like that. So all right, let's do this. Let's have a production meeting right now, okay? Like we like to do. The Agony and Ecstasy of Watain, April 29th, 2022.
Okay.
Let's see. What do I have? April 29th. Putting it on the calendar for Robert Cooper, little Robert Cooper. Because
Robert Cooper.
You know, he gets to take over one show, like Jesse did.
Yay.
All right. So let's see. We got that week. We got the Red Hot Chili Peppers. We got Lordy, Fozzy. We're skipping a week. Okay, here we go. May 25th. That's when we'll do it.
Okay.
Cool. But yeah, anywho, I know we were talking about how, oftentimes the critics really love like fucking technical stuff. Mm-hmm. And I think as somebody who tried to do the whole critical metal reviewer thing for a few years, and while I was listening to this, I was like, God, I need to go back to doing that. It was so much fun. Like stuff like bands like this, you really, they're so different. Nobody's really going to be doing the same thing as what they are. Mm-hmm. And when you listen to fucking 20 albums a week, even if it is a genre you love, it's going to start blending together a little.
Right.
So like
Absolutely.
when you hear a band like Allegaeon that's really bringing different ideas and kind of melding genres and having a very very eclectic sound as to what they offer, it really stands out to you, and I think can really speak to you on many levels, especially when you look at the lyrical content of this album. It goes, it's very personal in a lot of ways, and especially in these trying times.
Right.
In times like these, knowing that others are feeling the same way that you do can be a help. It could really sometimes it could be nice to know that, misery loves company.
Right, right.
All right, we ready to do the last 3 tracks here and close out for the evening?
I am ready to go, sir.
All right, here we go. The last 3 tracks of the evening for Damnum are Saturnine, In Mourning, and Only Loss. All right. This album review that Jesse took over like Rova was brought to you by Amazon Music Unlimited. Yes, sir. If you've listened to the Metal Hammer of Doom tonight and you're like, I'd like to get some Get 'em Jit'em with Allegaeon.
Damnum. Damnum.
Hardly damn near killed him.
Damnum hardly knew him. If you want to check out the rest of the Allegaeon catalog, you can do so on us for free. Who doesn't like free music? I like free music. I know you like free music. We all like free music. Well, just because we've got a link in our description of this podcast, getamazonmusic.com/W2M network, you can get yourself a free 30-day trial of the Amazon Music Unlimited. Stream all you want. You can get them, jit them to your heart's content, Jesse Starcher. And then when the 30 days is up, if you want to keep the service, you can. You just pay the monthly fee. If not, you cancel. No fuss, no muss, no contracts, no pains in the butt. Unless that's your thing, we're not here to kink shame. What do you think about that, Robert Cooper?
I mean, fortunately not we're here to kink shame, because then consequently we'd also be here to stink shame.
Oh.
Hey now!
Hi-yo!
Hi-yo!
Sounds sounds like a party and a half.
Oh, there's way too much partying for this middle-aged man. But Jesse
Well,
knows what
you
I'm
know
talking
what?
about.
That's why you don't need to party. You need to exercise.
I walked my dog today. Okay, thank you very much.
Whoa!
Is that what you call it? Not
No.
the kink shame.
No. If you
I'm walking the dog after we get off this podcast. Then
Jesse,
Wait a minute.
Starcher.
That
God.
is a weird way to say watch your wife scroll through TikTok.
Yeah, what's going on there? I mean, look, if that's what turns you on, Jesse, I'm certainly not going to king shame you, but it's a little personal, don't you think? This is a family show.
ding dongs.
That's what they call
Oh
them.
no, ding dongs.
You know, I was wondering if we were going to get sexy on this podcast, and I'm glad we got it in before it was all over. I'm glad we finished all over this podcast before the whole thing ended.
We definitely put the one in the stink.
Alrighty. Speaking of shockers, I gave this album an A. I think it's pretty close to perfect. A little draggy in parts, but that's the only reason why it's not an A+. But I mean, this is right up there with Amorphous in terms of technical musicianship and dynamic range. I think it's great. I think if you're a metalhead, I think you should listen to it. If you're a metalhead and you're not listening to it, I think you're missing out. Jesse?
Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it, man. I will tell you that the last song, Only Loss, this was the song that I really, 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 really liked off this album. I mean, I like the rest of them, but that's the one that stood out to me. And the reason being is it starts out so soft and then becomes like one of the heaviest songs off this album within seconds. It's a very reminiscent of, their 2008 EP, which is called 2008 EP. There's some really heavy stuff from back then, but they're able to bring that, this is 14 years later, and I mean, you are just waylaid by some of the stuff that's happening in Only Loss. And when you look at it again lyrically, not to bring it back down, but I mean, it is a song that is bereft of hope. When you look at it lyrically, it is just talking about, hey, all we have in this life is just loss. There's no hope. There's nothing left but just losing things. Mm-hmm. And that speaks to some people. I know I've thought about that here some myself. Like, man, as you get older, you start to think, am I just going to start losing people, losing things left and right? And
the answer is yes, Jesse. The answer is emphatically yes. You will inevitably lose everything.
You will inevitably, and that's what this means.
Which, fortunately, being a Browns fan has trained you for.
Yes, yes, it has.
Hey, football humor.
I'm classically trained in loss.
You know what? At least you learn from the best.
That's right.
All right.
Coop,
yeah.
What are your thoughts, man?
Yeah, I mean, this week actually has been kind of rough like that. The neighbors that lived across from me my whole lives, the grandson who was literally exactly my age passed away, and then I found out his grandmother passed away like less than a month later, leaving just the grandfather by himself.
Oh, man. That's
not to mention the grandfather is pretty much, I can't imagine how that man feels, because the boy was a diabetic who had too low of a sugar, and nobody realized it until Grandpa got home.
Oh
sorry,
gosh, that's
Coop.
horrible.
And it's one of those, like, when my mom told me about that today, like, it really stuck with me, because I was like, I guess this is getting, I mean, I'm only 30, but this is getting older. Like, this shit ain't gonna stop.
Yeah.
And it's very unfortunate. And I mean, an album like this, I know I talked about Misery Loving Company, and I know it does for a fact. Like, that is definitely an immutable fact that, like, it's sometimes good to know that others are feeling the same things you do. But I find it very special in a way that a band that, from, what you guys are saying, a lot of times focus more on scientific fact, which I chuckled when we said that earlier, because in today's modern culture, if you could sit on a toilet for 10 minutes, you are a scientist.
Yeah, then a military strategist as well.
Yeah, oh, yeah, man. I actually, not only that, my geopolitical knowledge is actually beyond measure.
Nice.
Yeah, no, I am great, man. I am. You give me 10 minutes and a quick poop, I will suddenly become a doctor. And I don't mean just playing it either.
Alrighty.
But anywho, yeah, it's one of those to see really the depth of what they can offer is, I think it's great.
All right, folks, that wraps us up here for this edition of the Metal Hammer of Doom. Next week, our yearly St. Patrick's Day show. This year, we're going to be reviewing the 30th anniversary of the House of Pain Fine Malt Lyrics, of which the big hit single Jump Around came from. That's a pre-recorded show. We did that last week, but it's going to go up on the 16th, and we had a ball talking about it. That was member berries if there ever were any, and I think you'll enjoy it. There was a lot of enthusiasm on that show. We had a lot of fun. The week after that, how many tanks do you want in this video? Yes. How many soldiers you want to see shot in this video? Yes.
Many.
All of them.
And they said, thank you for asking.
Robert Winfrey will be on the Metal Hammer of Doom to talk Sabaton, the war to end all wars. And then after that, it's WrestleMania week, all week long here and into the following week on the Radulich and Broadcasting Network. So we're doing a fun album. We're going to take a break from what we normally do. Another rap album, as a matter of fact. We're going to be doing the Randy Savage, Be a Man, Hulk Hogan. We're going to review that. That's going to be a lot of fun. We occasionally like to just pick something random, that has like tangentially something to do with something else going on in the world. It being wrestling week, we've done wrestling themes before, and I was trying to think of like, well, what else can we do that would be fun? And I'm like, you know what? Everyone talks about the Randy Savage album. Let's give it a tumble. See if she squeals. You know what I mean, Jesse?
Oh
no,
it'll be squealing.
Yes, sir. You got to know where to put it though. All right, Jesse, go ahead. Hey. I got to walk away from a second, so go ahead and take a few minutes. But why don't you tell them what a big time you are now?
Oh, yeah, look at me, big time in it, baby. So the Source Material Comics podcast right here on the Radulich and Broadcasting Network now has its own dedicated feed through W2M. So you can subscribe just to my show and get only the comic book content, strictly just that, to your podcatcher. So I did the only thing, there's only 2 episodes on there right now, solo on the feed. All right. We have my introduction episode. Is like, it's more like, hey, I'm Jesse. This is the show I do. And yeah, it's episode 301 because of XYZ. Then the second episode is our tie-in to the hashtag Global Comics Month. So Mark's been wanting to put some stuff out there and kind of tie some old shows into some trending hashtags on Twitter. Each month, there's apparently a themed comic month that's out there, and this month is Global Comics Month. And I could not, for the life of me, just bring myself to go searching through all of the content, the 300-plus episodes that we have under our belt to try and throw in with that hashtag. So I just decided to do a brand-new episode all by myself. And, Coop, guess what guess what property I chose for Global Comics Month?
Ooh, was it the Justice League International?
Oh, that's a great idea. We've never covered anything for that, though. Instead, I went with Captain Planet, #1. Captain Planet.
And he is a hero, and he'll take pollution down to 0.
You wouldn't believe it, but that theme song, that specific part of the theme song made it into that podcast. So, yeah, that's right, baby. It was just me. I did a little 15-minute podcast on reading that issue and talking about some of the silliness that happens in there. And
you should create a sequel podcast using the greatest comic of all time, Mr. T and the T-Force #1.
Ooh, baby.
I own that.
I know what you're talking about, too.
That's the one where the greatest comic panel of all time, it's a crack baby fool, comes from.
Oh,
they find a crack baby in a dumpster.
It's a crack baby fool.
It's a crack baby fool.
I feel like I need to read that and tie that into Global Comics Month somehow.
I think you should. I mean, we need to have representation.
I hear you.
Not only do we need to have just like we don't need to have weird blue men in half shirts with green mullets being represented.
That's right.
We also need a man of the people.
A man of the people
who loves his mama.
He does love his mama.
Because there is no
unconditionally.
other. Like mother, to treat her right.
So, yeah, and also on the feed at some point will be myself, Dean Compton, Derry Waite, and also Chris Armstrong talking about the Punisher, Daredevil, and Nomad crossover, No Man's Hand. And that should be airing, I would imagine, probably within the next week.
Derry Waite, does that guy really hate milk puns?
Well, I've spelled his name wrong like 5 times, I think. And I don't know how many times you can spell Derry wrong. It's either Derry, Darry. I do know one thing that he hates, and he hates Tool. And if he's listening to this,
Good
which
man.
I doubt he will be,
I like him.
we got on Dean Compton. You know how excited Dean Compton gets. Well, he starts talking about Tool, and then Derry just shut him down real quick. It was pretty fun.
That hurts me.
All right, we got to wrap, guys.
Oh, we got a wrap, ladies and
Oh
gentlemen.
no.
Coop, what you got anything you blown plug there, sir?
My friend Hannah did a podcast once. I was
Oh,
supposed to
my
show
God.
up on it once.
Take 10 minutes and tell me about it.
No,
you know,
no,
I
you know
really
what? I don't want to
could,
fucking
but
hear about
Mark-
Hannah anymore until she actually does another podcast. Okay.
Well, I mean, at this point, it's just part of the bingo card. All right.
All right.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
All right. So we're gonna be like safe sex. We're gonna wrap it.
That's right. All right, folks. Thanks for tuning in to the Metal Hammer of Doom this week. We'll be back again next week for House of Pain. Until then, be well, be safe, and behave.